Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be reviewing the CYCPLUS A8 electric air inflator. The CYCPLUS A8 is one of the most powerful inflators CYCPLUS currently offers. It's taken a lot of the great features of their previous inflators but added an oversized rechargeable battery to increase the lifespan of it. You can see packaging wise, really simple. Cardboard box, you have a little graphic on here that shows the actual inflator, some of the features here on the side, and the what's in the box, details, and then after sales warranty information all written here on the bottom. So we'll go ahead and take it out of the box and go over the specs. Retail price on this is about $50 currently. It goes up to 150 PSI, so it can be easily used on a variety of applications. It has an LED display, which really has a nice crisp backlight to it. And with this model, it's one of the larger inflators they offer, and because of that, they're able to put a much larger battery pack. So this has a 2600 milliamp lithium ion battery inside it, and it's actually USB Type-C rechargeable, which is pretty rare. It also has an aluminum construction for a really nice premium appearance. In terms of what comes in the box, you get quite a few things. You get the instruction manual in multiple languages. You get different adapters. So you have a USB Type-C charger, a little ball inflator, and then the little nozzle head for like yoga balls, as well as Schrader or Dunlap valves. You also get the inflator head, and this simply screws on to the cap here. And this can be used with standard valves, and they include the separate ones. So if you have a mountain bike or road bike, it can be used with both. And you also get this nice fabric carrying case that you can put the inflator in to keep it clean. So now let's take a look at the weight of the inflator. So the inflator without any attachments comes in at 468, so a bit over a pound. If we add the little nozzle, that brings it up to 490. Now let's take a look at the fit and finish of the A8 inflator. It's a pretty sleek design, so it's aluminum construction. It's only currently offered in this gray color, but I imagine they're going to offer more color variations. You have the vents on top and the attachment point for the nozzle. So you simply screw this on, and this is a nice rubber construction. So very flexible and quite long as well, so you can have good reach with it. And then you can see there's a little light here. So if you hold the LED button with the inflator off, it'll turn on, and you can see it's a nice low power LED, so if you need to find your way around at night, you can use it. On the bottom, you have additional air vents and the USB Type-C charging port, and that's really nice to see. A lot of smaller gadgets still use micro USB, so it's great to see USB Type-C. The display itself is really nice, so it's a LED display, and it's been upgraded from the previous models. You can see a really bright, good contrast. And the interface is pretty simple, so you only have 4 options here, and then the power button. Holding the power button will turn it on or off. You have the up-down arrows to adjust the current value, and if you hold it, it'll go into the rapid mode. If you hold it down, it'll go into rapid mode. Pressing the LED button will turn it on or off with the A8 on. When it's off, you have to hold it. And then you can also go through 5 different modes. So you click the left button, you get a little icon here. So you have a bike icon, you can do a motorcycle, then you have car, and then you have the ball mode, and finally, with nothing displayed, you're in the custom mode. So custom mode allows you to go all the way up to the 150 PSI. To change the units, you can see here it says bar. Simply hold the left button, and I'll switch to PSI. So you can see pretty simple display, and then you have battery status here. Good readability, and it's nice and large as well. So you can set it to the desired value and then simply press the button, and it's quite loud, so you can hear that. It'll automatically stop once it reaches the desired pressure, and you can simply press it again to pause or stop. Now what's weird about this is that some of the modes, each mode has a different limit. So with the bike mode specifically, you're only topping out at 65 PSI. So if you have a road bike, you're always gonna have to use custom mode. And then it can only go down to, I think, 30. So it's a little bit arbitrary. I'm not sure why they set these bounds. And it makes the modes a little less useful. So for road cyclists, you just wanna leave it on the custom mode all the time. Otherwise, really easy to use. Power button, turn it off. It is still loud, but with the aluminum construction and larger battery pack, you can definitely inflate more tires before having to recharge this. It also dissipates more heat because you have these air vents on there. The one downside to this setup is you don't have a power bank functionality anymore. Some of their other models offer that functionality where you can simply charge another device by plugging in the USB Type-C cable. But with this, you can't really take advantage of that, so it's only used as an inflator. It's also quite heavy, so not something you really want to ride around with. Something great to leave in your car, or if you're doing longer trips, you can bring it instead of a normal floor pump just to inflate a little bit quicker. Now let's get the A8 in action. We're going to turn it on with a single press. We're going to go into our car or truck mode. And then I usually do about 30, so we'll change the units by holding the button. So now we're in PSI. So really easy to see. I really like the larger screen here as it's easier to read and has a higher contrast. Now we're going to simply thread it on. What's great about this is actually it works as a tire pressure monitor too, so you can actually see your pressure as you connect. So you can see we're about 28.5, so we'll take it to 30 by just pressing the power button. Now this is still loud, so you'll hear that in a second. Then you can see it auto stops once it hits that pressure. And it does get hot too, so you have to be careful if you do this a lot. You might have to wait for it to cool down a bit. Now what's great about the A8 is you get other attachments, so you can inflate balls as well. So we'll go into ball mode, set it about 6 PSI, and then let it run. And this definitely beats a traditional little pump for your ball, so much quicker. Now let's use the inflator on a bike tire. It has a special bike mode. And as you can see, it's unfortunately limited to 65 PSI, which is not enough for a gravel bike or something with little thinner tires. We usually like to run 85, so we'll just throw it in the custom mode, put it at 81.5. We have to put the attachment on here, and you can see this little attachment for the press to valve. Then we'll simply slide it on and inflate. So now let's compare the A8 with the CYCPLUS A5, which we previously reviewed. Now one thing that's obvious is that the A8 is larger. It's about the same height, but you can see it's just a wider design instead of being round. And that lets them put a higher capacity battery. They've also listened to some of the criticism from the A5, and they've made the nozzle head longer. So you can see it's almost double the length, where this is half of it's rigid and then the top is flexible. Really short overall length. This one is all flexible and longer, so you can reach further along instead of having to hold it up. The other more obvious change is the display. So with the A5, you have a small LCD display that's backlit, but you can see comparing the size of the numbers here, it's almost double or triple the size with the A8. So a lot easier to read, higher contrast instead of having this blue color here. The interface is also simplified. You have 5 buttons here rather than the 4, which means things like turning on the light have their own dedicated button instead of having to hold on the unit button on the A5. With the A8, it actually has its own button. So similar little LEDs, which is nice for getting around at night. Otherwise, same functionality. The A5 does have a power bank feature, which is not available on the A8 currently. That's the only downside. But otherwise, they've really improved the interface, and it feels a lot more premium as it's aluminum rather than this plastic construction. Now let's go over the pros and cons for the A8 inflator. What we like about it is the LED display. It has high contrast and nice large lettering. I also like the larger battery capacity, which means you can use the inflator on multiple tires, car tires or bike tires before you need to recharge it. And finally, the premium construction with the aluminum body and the USB Type-C charging port, which is great to see on new devices. Some of the cons for the inflator is the fact that it's rather bulky. This is not something you're going to put on your cycling jersey and ride with. It's definitely something you want to leave in your car or carry in a backpack. The other thing is the bike mode is limited to 65 PSI, which is a little bit strange. It's more geared toward mountain bikers than road bikers. And finally, they have removed the power bank functionality, which is in the A2 and the other series inflators, which would have been nice to see here, as you could have used the device when you're not inflating tires. Taking everything into account, we'd give the A8 inflator an 8.3 out of 10. It's a nice portable electric inflator that doesn't quite replace a compressor or a floor pump, but gives you a nice in-between. Thanks for watching this review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can see more content from us on our website at thesweetcyclist.com, as well as follow us on Instagram at thesweetcyclist. This is The Sweet Cyclist reminding you to enjoy the ride.